Well, that's not good. Hey there guys, JW1 here, and welcome to episode 3 of Antonio Giovinazzi's breakthrough. And we start with some bad news actually. One of our upgrades, the weight reduction, has failed, and we have to get some more resource points to fix this issue. Not all doom and gloom. We do have two parts that we added on a little ages ago, finally on the car in Bahrain, so that's good, the aerodynamics and durability. So let's get to practice.
To the deserts of Bahrain, where the Formula One circus has rolled into town. We're expecting the cars to appear out on track shortly to start today's practice session. Beside me to take you through free practice today is a man with 3 decades of racing experience under his belt. It is, of course, Anthony Davidson. Thanks for joining us today, Ant, and tell me, where should we be focusing our attention today?
I think we need to be looking across the entire field to see how far these cars are able to push a single set of tyres. While everyone will be trying different setups and running with different fuel loads, if you're attentive enough, you can definitely pick out trends for each type of tyre compound, which will give us a rough idea of how long the drivers are able to stay out there during a stint in the race.
So here we are then here in practice, and as you can see, Giovinazzi is out on track just to get a feel for the car, and here at the Bahrain International Circuit in Sakhir. And as you can see, Gio seemed to get to grips with it quite quickly, it appeared. So as a result, he felt pretty comfortable as he was about to start his track acclimatization quite soon then. So now as he comes out the final corner, he's about to start that very soon, coming down at the pit straight, flicking up the gears, and now switching on the DRS as he starts that now then. So as he comes down the pit straight, he'll head in towards turn 1 as we now skip to the end of his first lap on track acclimatization. As you can see there, he only managed green that time round as he now tries to get purple. But as you can see on the right hand side, Felipe Massa comes out and he's going to park it on the apex to the point where Gio has to go around the outside of him, and as a result he gets red on the first gate, so Massa costing him any chance of potentially getting purple on this lap as we now come towards the end of the second lap of track acclimatization. Gio now coming down the straight, and as you can see, it's still green again, and Massa even gets past him down the straight to the point where Gio has to think about whether he needs to brake early or go around the outside of him. He decides to go around the outside, which as a result means he gets another red gate into turn 1. He wouldn't want to back out because otherwise he would only get green. He wanted purple in that first gate, and as a result Massa again costs him some more points. And as you can see, Massa again going to impede him some more, so he's going to try and find a way past him in towards the last corner now then, and Gio just only about clipping onto that gate there, but as you can see, he ran to the curve having oversteer, and Massa to the point where he actually made him invalidate his lap, and it's only good enough for green. Antonio was very angry with Felipe as a result of that. But now as we come around the final corner and onto the pit straight we go, as you can see, he has reached green on this instance, and he's only just able to get a green tyre management test, as it was red throughout the majority of it. He was only just able to get it just as he was about to cross the line. So as we come to the end of practice 1, Giovinazzi actually finished up in last place as a result. Wasn't pushing because he was focusing on his practice programs, trying to get as much resource points as he could, and now he's just getting the points that he got for the 2 practice programs that he did, the track acclimatization and the time management, and now he gets up to a total of 829. And as you can see, we're now having a look at our engine, and as you can see, the internal combustion engine has gone orange, and Gio for this instant was debating on whether he wanted to switch it before practice 2, but he decided to come to the conclusion that he was actually going to use the rest of it as much as he could here in this practice session, and then he would switch it before qualifying. So yeah, that's that. As he was also debating as well whether he wanted the others changing as well to yellow, and he wasn't really fussed with those, as you'll see a little later on when it comes to qualifying. He wasn't really fussed. But now, as you can see, we are now on the fuel management test. He was green for a bit, but it's only going to be red because, well, he had some oversteer coming out the final corner. So Gio, sadly, did not pass the fuel management test. Now we're moving on to the qualifying pace, and as you can see, Gio just struggling to find some pace around this track, and it looks like it's going to be another failure in terms of a practice program, and it is. He's not able to get the time that he needs to pass the practice program, so it's going to be a red qualifying pace for Antonio Giovinazzi. As we now reach the end of practice 2, Giovinazzi finished up in 19th, again not pushing because he was focusing on his practice programs. As you can see now then, he's now getting the resource points that he needs. And despite the fact that he didn't pass the practice programs, he still gets some nonetheless. Only got 36 of them. But now as we're on practice 3, he's currently on his race strategy test. And he's trying to get purple, but it's only going to be good enough for green this instance. So it's only going to be green for Antonio Giovinazzi. Not able to get purple in any of the tests. As now we've reached the end of practice 3. Giovinazzi again only managing P19 at the end of practice 3. As now all the practice sessions have been done for Formula 1, so now he's just collecting his resource points, and now let's have a look at the team objectives for qualifying.
Hi, just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
So here is Gio's qualifying objectives. He must qualify in 13th and, as per usual, beat teammate Romain Grosjean in qualifying. And as you can see, Gio is now going to change the internal combustion engine to a fresh one. He did debate on the other yellow ones, but he decided not to fuss as he wasn't too concerned with them. But now let's get on to qualifying.
The drivers are ready. We hope you're ready as qualifying is about to begin here in Bahrain. When it comes to getting lap time out of this circuit, it's traditionally been about maximising top speed. Do you simply remove as much downforce as possible, hang on into the corners and max out down the straights?
The teams will have arrived with all manner of parts designed to capitalise on the long straights. The cars will be that much harder to drive in the corners, but everyone will be in the same boat.
So now we get on to qualifying here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. As you can see, we're now going to load up the setup. It is going to be a dry race as per usual, as it is very rare for Bahrain to have any rain. I think in 2004, that was the only chance where it could have been threatened by rain because it was cloudy, but it didn't happen. But for the rest of the races, it's never been wet, and it's going to continue like that this season. Giovinazzi now out on track with his new setup, getting a feel for it, and he actually liked the setup very much and was very confident of trying to set a competitive lap time during the session. But now he's about to approach the end of his first qualifying run, just coming out the second to last corner there. Got a little bit of a slide going through into there, but was able to correct that with no problems whatsoever, only using minimal time as a result. In towards the final corner, using the curb on the right, and now onto the pit straight he goes, using as less fuel as possible to get a competitive lap time. He crosses the line for an early second place, 1/10 behind Sergio Perez as a result. So that's his first qualifying run out of the bag, and as you can see now, he's going to switch onto a set of tyres. And he's just checking the gearbox and the power unit there. The gearbox looking okay in green, and his engine looking decent as well. About to run for an expected lifespan of 73 laps. Bahrain doesn't last that long anyway in a 50% race, so that's fine. And now we're approaching the end of his second flying lap, as we have just under 1 3/4 minutes to go in the session. Giovinazzi just come out of the second to last corner there, as he now comes up towards the final corner, which will then take him onto the pit straight. So using a lot of the curve this time around that corner, and now down the pit straight. Is he going to try and improve on 9th place as he flicks on the DRS and he gets up into 7th place? So a big improvement there for Giovinazzi. But as you can see, drivers start to improve a little later on, and Gio is actually going to qualify in 13th place. And Gio's teammate on the other hand didn't set a time. He either crashed or had a penalty, I'm not sure, or had to change something in his gearbox, on his engine, I don't know. But he's going to qualify in last place, Grosjean is. So Gio, for once, has qualified teammate Romain Grosjean, even though Grosjean didn't set a time. So that's good news for Giovinazzi as far as he's concerned, as he now gets some resource points, and he's now going to have a look at the rivalry status with his teammate. And now we're going to see the objectives for the race.
Hi, guess who? I've seen the team's expectations for the race, so I thought I'd pass them on and wish you luck. Take care.
So here we are then here in the Bahrain Grand Prix for the race. Giovinazzi just warming up his tyres on the formation lap. He gets lined up in 13th place as he waits for the 5 red lights to go off here in Sakhir. And it is lights out and away we go here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. A little bit of wheel spin there for Giovinazzi, as with most of the drivers, but he tries to find a gap within the traffic, as you can see. He dives down the inside of Palmer. As you can see, out of nowhere, Perez comes like a bullet and actually takes him into turn 1, but compromises his entrance. Giovinazzi taking advantage of this. It looks like everybody's bunching up, just coming out of turn 2 there. Gio tries to take advantage, has to back out a little bit just to ensure he doesn't lose his front wing. He's side by side with Sainz and Verstappen. I believe this is. No, it's Ricciardo. I do apologise. Just about missing contact there with Ricciardo. Ricciardo slows down because he's got somebody on the left of him, and Giovinazzi moves up into 7th place, taking advantage of that, going a little bit wide into the S's there, but able to keep his composure as up into 7th place goes Giovinazzi. A great start from 13th place on the grid for the Italian, as he now tries to hunt down Verstappen for P7. I do apologise, Gio is up into P8, not P7, as we go around that left-hander. Now we go towards the end of lap 1 now. Then Gio trying to line up Verstappen for a pass as Hamilton sets an early fastest lap of the race. I do believe it is Hamilton leading out in front at the moment. Gio trying to get within the slipstream of Verstappen. He knows he's got a better engine compared to the Renault in the back of the Red Bull there. Verstappen locks up. Gio tries to take advantage down the inside, trying to keep it side by side with Verstappen. Verstappen's entrance is compromised into turn 2, and Giovinazzi takes 7th. As a result, Vettel has also taken Ocon into turn 1 up into 5th place. Vettel way down the field. He must have had a bad start. Giovinazzi had to go a little bit wide to avoid hit cream crackering into the back of Esteban Ocon there, and that's something that he does not want to do. As now we're at the beginning of lap 3 in this race. As you can see, Vettel has now got away from Ocon, and now Gio fancies his chances on Esteban Ocon. He seems to be a little bit too far back. He tries to get within the slipstream of the Frenchman. He breaks a little bit later. He's going to commit to the inside, and a brilliant move from Giovinazzi. You could class it as a dive bomb if you want, but Giovinazzi up into 6th place there, and wow. That is 8 championship points he's currently holding on to at the moment in this race, but we still have a long way to go. And Giovinazzi, I can tell you, is running a 2-stop strategy for this race, because tyre wear around this track is really crucial around this track, and it's not possible to even do a 1-stop here in Bahrain. As you can see, Bottas is now into the pits, so for a brief time, Giovinazzi moves up into 5th place. As on the bottom right, you could see Giovinazzi is expected to pit this lap for his first of 2 scheduled stops in this Grand Prix, as he negotiates the first 3 corners on the track, and he's left Esteban Ocon for dust to hold off a train. It seems that will consist of, I believe, Verstappen that he's currently holding up as well. But now we come around the final corner, and Giovinazzi is about to come into the pits on lap 7 for his first of 2 scheduled stops, as he slows it down for the pit limiter. And he's just looking for his mechanics so he can pull into his box. As you can see there, Vettel has finished a pit stop. Looks like Williams have done a pit stop, as have Toro Rosso. Gio now slots into his box, change of tyres, and he's on his way. And it looks to be a 2.9 second stop for the Haas mechanics. A decent stop from Haas, but could have been a lot more better in my opinion, as Giovinazzi now then switches off the pit limiter, and he's going to rejoin in 17th place, so way down the field, and still in front of Daniel Ricciardo, who's in 18th place, way ahead of him. In fact, I don't know if Ricciardo actually pitted on the same lap as Giovinazzi, but whatever the case, Gio's still in front of Daniel Ricciardo, as now we skip to the end of lap 8, and as you can see, Giovinazzi, because of the pace of the Sauber, is quickly able to catch up to Pascal Wehrlein, getting better traction out the second to last corner, not wasting any time in the slipstream of the Sauber. Side by side he goes with Pascal Wehrlein as he heads in towards the final corner on the track, and Giovinazzi takes 16th from him as teammate Grosjean comes into the pits for his first of 2 scheduled stops, I believe. I believe he's also on a 2-stop. I do know that some might be doing the 3-stop in this race, so who knows really. But as you can see, a lot of people into the pits. Giovinazzi moves up into 10th place for the meantime, but there are still others to pit, such as this guy in front of Giovinazzi, that being the McLaren of Stoffel Vandoorne. As he comes out of turn 2 there, Giovinazzi gets a little bit of a wiggle coming off the exit of that corner, as he now comes up towards turn 4 on the track, trying to break that a little bit later than the McLaren. You can definitely tell the speed difference between the Ferrari-powered Haas and the Honda-powered McLaren, as Gio had a little look at Vandoorne into the S's, but backs out of it, potentially trying to line up Vandoorne for a pass into the hairpin, and he breaks out a little bit later than Vandoorne, and as a result, he had to cut the corner a little bit there to ensure there wasn't any contact, and he moves up into 9th place. And next target is Felipe Massa, who I believe might have actually either leapfrogged Giovinazzi or is actually going on a long stint. So yeah, so now Giovinazzi is actually going to be legitimately fighting with Felipe Massa, I believe, for quite a while in this race, as he comes up towards the left-hander, but you could definitely tell the speed of that McLaren Honda as Giovinazzi gets a wiggle coming out the first corner of the support pit straight there as he negotiates around the right-hander, heading in towards the second to last corner as Giovinazzi now is in pursuit of Felipe Massa for P8. It should be a little bit higher because I do believe there will be others coming into the pits this lap. Do not quote me, but I might be wrong on that, but we'll have a look as soon as we come around the last corners. It looks like Massa's having a battle with somebody, in fact, in front of him. I can't quite tell who it is he's actually having a fight with as Palmer now comes into the pits for Renault, and as you can see, Stroll's also in, as is Esteban Ocon, so we're going to get up into 6th place yet again. And Massa, who is he behind? In fact, I think it might have actually been Palmer. In fact, he was stuck behind and Palmer just came into the pits because I can't see anybody in front of Felipe this time around. As we're now on lap 10 of 29. Now we skip towards lap 16 of 29. And we just come around the first corner support pit straight. And the virtual safety car has been deployed because Lewis Hamilton is out of the race. The race leader is out of the race. And now what you're about to see is something really BS look. Verstappen passing under the virtual safety car just as Gio was ghosted. Gio tries to overtake him back, but co-masters say he's got to give the place back to Verstappen. And as a result, Verstappen doesn't actually get a penalty for it, which I find a little bit BS. I know Gio was going very slow during the virtual safety car, but still, Verstappen should have still been behind Gio. No excuses there. No overtaking during the virtual safety car whatsoever. I don't know what co-masters' logic is in that, so I think that's something that co-masters, in my opinion, need to fix, because that has pretty much screwed Gio potentially of a higher position, and if he wants to get that position back, he's going to have to re-overtake Verstappen. But the VSC still out at the moment, as it looks like Massa has made an extra pit stop and he's out in front of Verstappen, it appears. Or is that somebody else? I can't quite tell who Verstappen's trying to chase down. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, the VSC has now ended, DRS is again enabled, and Gio now wants to be in pursuit of Max Verstappen if he can, after just being screwed out of that virtual safety car as he negotiates through the S's. He gets that a little bit closer to Verstappen, gets a wiggle coming off the exit there, and unable to maybe slingshot it down the inside in towards the hairpin there, trying to break that a little bit later, again suffering from a little bit of oversteer out the exit of the hairpin there as he negotiates through the double left-hander, trying to break that a little bit later. The Verstappen goes a little bit too deep. He was within DRS, but he's already too far back to challenge Verstappen, and as a result, Verstappen still able to keep in front in 5th place. Verstappen, as you can see, is on a set of super soft tyres. Giovinazzi is on softs, and obviously Gio is expected to pit, in fact, on the end of this lap, according to the bottom right of your screen there. So Gio is expected to make his second of 2 stops today on this lap, as the track gets darker and darker as it turns from sunset to nighttime here at the Bahrain International Circuit. Despite the fact that it is a 50% race, these career modes are, you still can get a transition with Bahrain. As now in towards the final corner we go now then, and we should be expecting Gio to peel into the pits, and he does, and also joining him will be Max Verstappen. So it'll be a battle of pit crews between Red Bull and Haas. I would imagine that Red Bull will still be in front because Verstappen's got a decent enough gap between himself and Giovinazzi. But the Haas mechanics now then ready for Gio to be served. Gio pulls into his box to go onto a set of medium tyres this time around, and it is a 2.7 second stop, so 2/10 quicker than last time. Verstappen still out in front of Giovinazzi as a result, so Gio is going to have to get him on track if he can, as he flicks off the pit limiter, and he's going to rejoin in 8th place, just in front of Esteban Ocon's Force India. So he's still in the points, but still, Gio still a little bit angry with what happened during the virtual safety car with Max Verstappen, and well, I don't think he'll let that one slide for a while, that's for sure. But now we skip on to the end of lap 19 as he tries to close up to Verstappen. It looks like there's a couple of other cars that are holding up Verstappen. As you can see there, Lance Stroll is into the pit, so it will lift Giovinazzi up into 6th place as Verstappen's on the back of somebody in front, according to the mini-map. I can't quite tell who it is as we negotiate in towards the first corner, and it looks like Felipe Massa, in fact, he's having a battle with for P4. So is Gio able to get a little bit closer to this battle so he could potentially take 4th in this race? But as you can see, he's just too far back behind Verstappen as we're on the middle of lap 25, coming out of that double left-hander, coming down the support pit straight we go. And as you can see now, Jolyon Palmer is now out of the race. We're down to 18 runners as a result. And for the second time today, the virtual safety car has been deployed. Now about the same place as where the BS happened the first time with Giovinazzi and Verstappen. So, yeah, so a little bit of a coincidence there, you'd have to say, as Giovinazzi slows the pace down for this virtual safety car, and it's actually coming to an end quite quickly than what it was previously. But as you can see on the right hand side, there's Palmer's car. He must have had some form of mechanical problem to pull off onto the side of the track there, but the virtual safety car is coming to an end. The DRS is enabled, and it's time to get back racing for the final 5 laps, well 4 laps now, because I do believe the race leader has started lap 26. But now as we approach the end of the race, Giovinazzi just didn't have enough pace to get to Verstappen and Massa towards the end. As you can see, Kimi Raikkonen wins the Bahrain Grand Prix, taking his second win out of the first 3 races there, so he gets himself a healthy lead in the Drivers' Championship as a result. But Giovinazzi now just comes around the final corner, and he's going to cross the line in 6th. He will be happy with that to get P6 some more points, but he'll still be a little bit disappointed, as it could have been a lot higher had it not been for the BS under the safety car.
A great win then for the Maranello team today. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
See, it's time for the podium, and as the drivers make their way out, there's a familiar red suit making its way to the top step. Fantastic win for Ferrari.
So confirmation then of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Kimi Raikkonen won the race ahead of fellow Finn Valtteri Bottas, with Sebastian Vettel rounding off the podium. Giovinazzi finished in 6th and Grosjean finished in 10th. So despite the BS, Haas still get double points, as Grosjean made a great comeback from the back of the pack to finish in P10, as Palmer and Hamilton, the 2 Brits, were the only retirements in this Grand Prix due to separate issues. In the Drivers' Championship, Raikkonen has a healthy lead at the top by 10 points in front of Sebastian Vettel, with Bottas in 3rd. Giovinazzi is in 8th. Grosjean has dropped down to 9th in the championship as a result, so Giovinazzi overtakes Grosjean again in the drivers. In the Constructors' Championship, Haas is still in 4th, but Williams and Force India are nipping at them. Toro Rosso and Renault are tied in 7th, when McLaren and Sauber still at the score. Ferrari still leading it in front of Mercedes and Red Bull, so Haas still maintaining 4th at the present moment, and so whether Haas will be able to keep on that for the rest of the season, we don't know. But now Gio's going to gather his resource points, how he's doing in terms of his rivalry with his teammate, how he's doing in terms of the status within the team, and also the career points that he's got as well. And as you can see, he's actually drawing the rivalry as well. So he was losing the first 2 rounds, but now he's actually drawing. And as you can see, his reputation within the team and with other teams has actually increased thanks to a good result in Bahrain. And the career score will also increase as well, as he gets some more points in terms of practice, qualifying race, etc, etc. And his total score is 21,628. But as you can see, Gio is actually going to make an upgrade. Now, he did think initially he was going to try and repair that little issue that happened with his chassis, but he's actually decided he needs some power in his car, so he's actually going to upgrade and get some ignition system going in, and try and work up to some more points to get that upgrade sorted off in terms of the central underweight. But guys, that's been it from Antonio Giovinazzi's Breakthrough episode 3. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for the Russian Grand Prix. Until then, take care.